other thing before we get to the calls. One of the people who covers this show, and should know something about the business after all these years, but just amazes me how little they know, opined that maybe I was upset with a deal that one of those shows, which, you couldn't find in the ratings compared to this show with a search party, had cut some kind of deal to have their show, a highlight of their show, shown on cable at night. You can't be serious. That MSG didn't make us an offer and they made them an offer. MSG made us a very lucrative offer to simulcast the show. We turned it down. This show, the host and the company consider this show to be a very big profit center for the company and for the host. And the content is prized. It comes at a very expensive price, extremely expensive for the marketplace. And we could not agree on a deal. They offered us more than one deal. We turned them down. Plus, if you must know, but I'll try to educate you after all these years, the infrastructure to build a new simulcast production between places is very expensive. And the fact that I'm only going to be here another 17 months makes it very, very cost sensitive to do that when I'm not going to be here for 5 or 10 years. That's another big issue that came up, which is why the show right now is not simulcast. Those are a big part of it. If I had a lot of years that I could promise them, they could then spend millions building the infrastructure they have to build to simulcast the show every day. I cannot believe how little these guys know about the business they pretend to cover. It's unbelievable. Mike in New Haven, what's up, Mike?
Well, that was a nice little rant, and it's true. I mean, listen, you've been on...
Mike, go, make your point. I don't need you to now go through echo what I just said. I did it already. You don't need to do that. Go ahead.
I'm not going to echo. I'm just going to say it was a good rant.
Okay.
But before I
Thanks.
get to
Jeez, now you made my day. Go ahead. What's up?
Okay. You keep saying, before I get to my Yankee point, that Bonds was regularly walked intentionally with the bases loaded.
No, he wasn't regularly walked. I was making it. Listen, I was stressing, but the man got 120 intentional passes. You don't think the year was special, Mike?
I understand.
How many players got 120 intentional walks in a season?
I understand.
How many players do you know in history of baseball ever got 50 intentional walks in a season?
I'm saying he was only walked.
Again, I know how many times he was walked. You know what, Mike? You annoy me. Goodbye. Milford, I understand he was not walked a lot with the bases loaded. I was being dramatic. My God, you guys are so literal about stuff. It's unbelievable. I was making a point about his season. So I said he was walked more than once with the bases loaded, and he was only walked this many times. Who cares? You guys, you know what? You're nerds. That's what you are. I mean, it's ridiculous. The man got 120 intentional passes. The guy had an on-base percentage of .609. Do you understand the magnitude of his season? That's the point.
All right.
Just to clear this up so that no one else calls with it and gets yelled at. And I said the other day when I was illustrating Bonds' incredible seasons that he was walked in multiple times that year with the bases loaded. He was not. He was only walked once with the bases loaded. There have only been 6 times in baseball history, someone sent it to me, where a guy's been walked with the bases loaded. The only other modern player is Josh Hamilton, and he was only walked with the bases loaded once that year. But he was walked 100, just to give you an idea, he was walked 120 times intentionally, and the highest number before that ever, other than him, was Willie McCovey, and that was 40. So, just to show you how much different it was. It's amazing that Willie McCovey, who was a very dangerous hitter, I don't know if people would have picked Willie McCovey, but Willie McCovey was an incredibly dangerous hitter, late 60s, early 70s, Giants. The Giants had Cepeda and McCovey. McCovey came up, and Cepeda was at first, and Cepeda was an enormously good player. But they traded Cepeda to the Cardinals, who went off and won an MVP with the Cardinals, because they were trying to make a place for McCovey to play first base, because McCovey couldn't run, he couldn't play in the outfield. They needed to get his bat in the lineup, so they traded Cepeda to the Cardinals for Ray Sadecki, and he won an MVP his first year there. He was a really wonderful player at Atlanta Zapata. The Giants used to come up with incredible hitters in those days, especially outfielders. And McCovey came up as a bad outfielder, but he became the beloved figure. And I saw Willie McCovey play in person when he was in his prime at Shea Stadium. He had some of the longest home runs I ever saw, and he is the number 2 guy all time. Now, you wonder about Ruth, they didn't keep the statistic. And if you wonder about Mantle, not as high as you would think, because he was in such a good lineup. Plus, people would walk him, but they would try to walk him, but they would try to get him to nibble because he would strike out a lot. So they would not walk him as many times intentionally as you think for those 2 reasons. One, he had good guys behind him, very good lineup. A lot of times Berra, who was a great clutch hitter a lot of those years. And number 2, Maris usually batted in those years in front of Mantle, not in back. They did switch in 61 about a week into the season. Mickey went from in front of him into in back of him, which is why Roger hit all those home runs. And the great stat of all time is Roger, when he hit 61 home runs, got 0 intentional passes because he had Mickey behind him. But Mickey was not as high as you think for those reasons. One, they'd try to nibble and see if he could swing at some bad pitches. And 2, there were just too many good guys in their lineup to do that. So the second guy, and the second highest guy lifetime in intentional passes, is Pujols behind Bonds, but he's 400. And he has 200 and change, and Bonds has almost 700, to show you the difference. Adam in Milford, what's up, Adam?
Hey, Mike.
What's happening?
I want to make a point about the Yankees. Do you mind if I mention the name of a missing child in my town real quick?
Now, what is this about, Adam?
She's a missing girl in my town, and it hasn't gotten a lot of coverage. And,
wait, how has it not gotten a lot of coverage? Where are the news outlets? Where are the news outlets?
Well, all local, Mike. All local news outlets.
So how old is the little girl?
Well, she's 17, and she left her house with her boyfriend,
right,
who had actually threatened to hurt her in Milford, Pennsylvania.
When?
Huh?
When? What was the date?
April 18th.
And it has not gotten any attention?
It has gotten attention, Mike, just locally. So I just wanted to mention the name.
Go ahead.
So it's Leanna Walker.
But that's not going to help on the radio, the name. You're going to have to give more information than that.
But if Leanna Walker in Milford, Pennsylvania.
No, you're going to have to say all right, so what does she look like?
She had blondish brown hair. You have to look at the picture, Mike. If you just Google it, if you go on Facebook, there's a support for Leanna Walker. If you just Facebook that, then you can pull up.
You're trying to tell me that in Pennsylvania they are ignoring this story?
Not ignoring, but it hasn't gotten the coverage it deserves. I mean, not every child gets the same coverage, Mike. A lot of
well, first of all, this is not. A 17-year-old is not a child. First of all, so I mean, there are things. Yeah, but there are things that could have gone on here that the authorities have to deal with. She could have left by her own volition at 17. That's still a possibility. Where if it's a little girl of 7 or 8 or 9, that's not a possibility. So at 17, there are a lot of different ramifications for law enforcement. Now, I'm not saying that's the case. What I'm saying is they have to view a 17-year-old far different than they're going to view a young girl. So 17 is. Well,
her boyfriend's 25, Mike.
All right, and where is he?
And
where is he? And where is he?
He's in jail now. He got arrested, and they left together, and now he's saying that she walked away from him, and he doesn't know where she is. So people are.
Well, why isn't it considered a crime?
Well, because they can't prove that he hurt her, but he's arrested for other charges, and he left with her, and he won't say where he is or what happened.
Well, he's
her.
Obviously the main suspect here. This could be a criminal proceeding, obviously.
Exactly.
Well,
we are just trying to make sure that she hasn't hitchhiked somewhere or gone somewhere or.
And what is your are you just a concerned citizen, or you have some relationship to her?
I know her. It's one of her sisters that I know. And
what do they think?
The family's very upset.
They're obviously upset. What do they think? I asked you.
Think about what?
What are they?
I mean,
oh
they're
my
very
God!
upset.
What do they think happened?
They don't know, Mike. They have no idea.
Well, they don't have it. They don't have any. They don't have a thought whether they thought the guy. You made it seem like the guy hurt her. That's what you made it seem. So do they think that? Do they think that?
The mother has come out and said that she doesn't know, but thinks that because of the past death threats that may be the case.
Okay, so that's what I asked you. Do they think that something bad happened to her? They think that this guy did something to her. That's the point.
They're starting to think that now.
Yeah, well, and I would think this is an open crime investigation. You're telling me that they don't have anybody investigating this?
Well, Pennsylvania State Police are investigating it, but I just mean as far as news coverage, because if she's left the Poconos, then no one's going to hear about it.
Well, she could be anywhere. She's 17. She could go. She could be anywhere.
Right, but again, she's not a legal adult, and she hasn't contacted.
Well, in some states, in some states, she is.
Well, again, she hasn't contacted anyone, and it's out of character. It's all out of character.
Well, hopefully, the authorities find out where she is, and I don't know that. We have no way of knowing what happened here, but obviously, we hope for the best. I mean, that's okay. I mean, I don't know. At 17, though, it's a little different. It really is, because she might have been unhappy. Maybe she took off. Hopefully that's the case, and she's somewhere and she's okay. I mean, that's what you hope for.
Most definitely, but
okay. Lisa in Whitestone, what's up, Lisa?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
What's happening?
I have to say something about last night's game, because I certainly agree with you completely. Being about 4 or 5 years younger than you.
Okay. Don't brag about being younger than me.
No, I just meant that I wasn't at 66, but in 68 was when I wrote the letter to Horace Clark and sent him the birthday card. So I was, I guess, like 9, and my brother was
Horace
4. And
Clark. Listen, he is the symbol of a generation.
You know what? He wrote back this really nice letter.
Good for him. He's a nice man. He's a nice man.
And you know what? My brother and niece met Roy White when
another nice man,
right? And I had sent him a Christmas card again when we were kids, because you remember in the yearbook they used to put where they lived, like the town. So I wrote on the front of the envelope, Roy White, New York Yankees outfielder, Patterson, New Jersey. And he not only got the card, but he sent me one back. So he gave my brother a ball and wrote on it, "To Lisa, Merry Christmas."
How about
Roy White? Yes. So
very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I loved those teams, and I loved the 70s teams. But I remember those double headers where Wilbur Wood would pitch both games, and we'd lose both.
Do you know how much fun? Yeah. Do you know how much fun Celerino Sanchez was for one summer?
Right. Yes. Celerino Sanchez and Jerry Kenny and all of those players. So I remember all of them, and met a lot of them, because they weren't like, oh, stay away from us.
No.
People. It was a totally different thing.
Yes.
But last night's game, I know the Yankees aren't going to win anything this year, and that's fine. I don't feel like one of those people, Mike, who is spoiled, or, I loved the teams, the players in the 90s and 2000 and 2003, and, 9 was great too, but, I like the old stadium better. I watch every single game still. I go to games once in a blue moon. I went to tons of games up until 08, through 08.
Right.
I don't love the new stadium. Okay.
Right.
Last night, I wanted to bring in Miller at the beginning of that inning. And why in the world
he should have
pinch hitting with Chase Headley? Can you tell me?
He should have. I think he's just. I think basically he's just doing anything he can to get Headley going. Anything. But I don't understand the Miller move. I do understand it. I understand his idea. Listen, we got to get him out. I got to guarantee him 2 innings to get a win. I don't want to do that. Now, obviously, I need him to come in and bail out the game. But if you're going to have him, in my mind, if you're going to make the decision to have him come in and bail out the game, then you have to let him start the inning. Because otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. You used him anyway, and you wound up. And I understand he didn't work a lot, but the bottom line is, if you're going to use him, use him. If not, don't use him. I don't think there's any in between there. So, listen, I think Joe made a mistake. It's okay. I mean, listen, right now there's not a lot of ways you can turn with this team. And, boy, Ackley made a heck of a catch. I mean, listen, I thought that ball, even when they replayed it, I thought the ball hit the wall. I really thought the ball hit the wall. And that was a great catch. Really was. I thought the game was over when he hit it. I was surprised. Waiters was like, he was like angry. But to me, I thought he had got it. I thought it was a home run when he hit it. But just a brutal loss. And Tanaka pitched so well. I mean, he really pitched a great game. 2 o'clock, here's the Make Man.